misty mountains of ancient Japan, where the silence is broken only by the whispering wind among the trees, lives an ancient who was once one of the most feared and respected ninjas of his time. Today, he dedicates his life to sharing the wisdom accumulated over decades of training and introspection. On a cold morning, as the shy sun hid behind the mountains, a young apprentice approached, eager to hear the master's words. The ancient, with a serene gaze and a calm voice, began to tell a story filled with deep teachings about mastering emotions. Long ago, began the ancient, there was a powerful daimyo, a lord of vast lands and formidable armies. This man, despite his strength and wealth, was known for his explosive temper. One day, he decided to visit a neighboring lord whose fame for wisdom spread throughout Japan. Upon arriving at the neighbor's castle, he was received with great honor and respect, and a splendid banquet was prepared in his honor. However, during the banquet, something unexpected happened. A small leaf fell into his teacup. Furious, the daimyo ordered his servant to bring another cup immediately, not tolerating such negligence. The young apprentice listened intently as the ancient continued. The lord of the neighboring castle, observing the guest's reaction, remained calm and, with a slight smile, said, "Noble lord, why get angry over something so trivial? A fallen leaf cannot ruin the experience of such a grand banquet." The daimyo, even more irritated, responded, "I cannot tolerate such things. Even a small leaf can ruin my mood." The host then, with the tranquility of one who has faced many battles, replied, "Lord, it is not the leaf that ruined your mood, but your reaction to it. True power does not lie in strength, but in the control of your emotions." The ancient paused, allowing the silence to fill the air before continuing. Hearing these words, the daimyo fell silent. He realized that the true challenge was not the leaf, but his own inability to control his emotions. From that day on, he decided that he needed to master his reactions so that he would not be enslaved by them. He returned to his castle determined to practice the art of self-control, starting with small daily actions that would help strengthen his mind and spirit. With a deep gaze, the ancient looked at the apprentice and said that what we learn from this story is that true strength does not lie in the ability to command armies or accumulate wealth, but in the capacity to maintain serenity in the face of adversity. Emotions are like storms. If we do not control them, they can drag us into chaos. However, with patience and practice, we can learn to face them with firmness, like an unshakable rock in the middle of a turbulent river. The ancient then shared another story, this time about a young man named Kazuo who lived in a remote village. Kazuo was known for his irascible temper, began the ancient. He often reacted impulsively to any situation that annoyed him, resulting in constant misunderstandings and hurt feelings. Kazuo's life was a cycle of anger and regret until a significant event made him reconsider his path. One day, he had a heated argument with a close friend over a trivial matter, and the harsh words they exchanged left deep scars. Feeling the weight of his actions, the ancient continued. Kazuo decided to seek the help of an old sage who lived in the mountains. The sage, known for his wisdom and patience, listened attentively to Kazuo's grievances and then said that anger is like a burning coal. When you throw it at someone, you also burn yourself. If you desire peace in your life, you must learn to control your tongue and calm your mind before acting. These words resonated deeply with Kazuo, who began to reflect on the impact of his impulsive reactions. Kazuo then decided to follow the sage's advice and began practicing meditation daily. Every morning, the ancient recounted that Kazuo would sit in silence, observing his thoughts and feelings without clinging to them. Over time, he learned to recognize the onset of anger and stop it before it took control. When he found himself in situations that would have previously angered him, he took a deep breath, recalling the sage's words. This practice helped him transform his relationships and cultivate an atmosphere of peace around him. The ancient paused, allowing the young apprentice to reflect on what he had just heard. "You see, young one," he said, "Kazuo teaches us that true power does not lie in suppressing emotions, but in understanding them and choosing how to respond. By developing this skill, he not only changed his own life, but also positively impacted those around him. This is the essence of self-control. an inner strength that not only protects us from chaos, but also radiates peace and harmony. Like Kazuo, the ancient continued, we all face challenges that test our emotional balance. Whether it's an offense, a misunderstanding, or an unexpected situation, how we react can determine the outcome. By practicing the art of not reacting impulsively, we create space for reflection and a more thoughtful response. This practice, though simple, requires discipline and perseverance, but the rewards it brings are immeasurable. With a slight smile, the ancient began to speak of a third story, this time about a woman named Aiko, who lived in a small coastal town. Aiko was known for her kindness and generosity, but inside, she carried a burden of anxiety and fear. Every time something didn't go as planned, she would become overwhelmed with worry, allowing fear to take control. However, everything changed when she found an old letter written by her grandmother, a woman who had survived many hardships. The letter read, "Dear Aiko, life is full of uncertainties. We cannot control what happens around us, but we can control how we react to these situations. The key to peace is accepting what we cannot change and acting with serenity in the face of the unexpected." These words deeply touched Aiko's heart, and she began to practice detachment and acceptance. Over time, she learned to face her fears with courage and to live in the present with gratitude. The ancient looked at the apprentice and said that Aiko's story reminds us that often what troubles us is not the external events, but how we interpret them. By accepting life's uncertainty and acting with serenity, we find a peace that no storm can shake. This is a lesson we must carry into our lives, for it allows us to face challenges with courage and resilience, without being swept away by waves of fear and anxiety. Expanding further on Aiko's experience, the ancient continued. As Aiko practiced this new approach, she noticed that her relationships began to flourish. People around her started to appreciate her calm demeanor, and she became a source of support for others. When her neighbors faced difficulties, they sought Aiko's advice, knowing she would offer wisdom with compassion. Through her journey, Aiko realized that by mastering her own mind, she could positively influence the world around her. Aiko's transformation, added the ancient, was not just a personal victory, but a beacon of light for her entire community. She became an example of how inner peace can lead to outer harmony. Her story teaches us that when we focus on cultivating calm within, we become agents of change, spreading that tranquility to others. Each of us has the power to choose how we respond to life's uncertainties, and in doing so, we shape not only our destiny, but the world we inhabit. The ancient paused, allowing the apprentice to absorb the depth of the lesson. "You see, young one," he said, "the stories of Kazuo, Aiko, and the daimyo all share a common thread: the importance of mastering our inner world. Whether faced with anger, fear, or uncertainty, the ability to pause, reflect, and choose our response is what defines true strength. The path of a ninja is not only about physical prowess, but about the mastery of the mind and spirit. This is our story, a journey of self-discipline and wisdom." Finally, the ancient concluded, "Young one, each of these stories teaches us that true mastery lies in controlling our reactions rather than being controlled by them. Anger, fear, and frustration are internal enemies that can lead us astray, but with patience and practice, we can learn to master them. Remember always, this is our story, a continuous journey of self-discovery and overcoming, where each step brings us closer to inner peace." The ancient, with his eyes full of wisdom, turned to the apprentice and to those watching, saying, "And to you who watch and listen, know that you too are part of this journey. Join us in the next lesson, and together, we will continue to walk the path of wisdom."